Welcome back, investors, to the Investing with Our YouTube channel for another video. If you're new to the channel, I am a UK-based investor focusing mainly on US stocks, and I started the portfolio I will be showing you today in April 2021. I am fortunate enough to have gone past the golden milestone having a 100k portfolio, and I'll be showing you the ups and possibly more importantly the downs of my investing journey. This includes the buys, the sales, and the dividend income I receive. So if you're a returning viewer, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe so you can follow my journey. Now, let's get into it. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the last week of June. If you look at where we ended up last week, it was at £106,470. And at the end of this week, we finished on £107,464, which is the highest it's been on one of my weekly recordings. So overall, that equates to just under a £1,000 gain for the week, which is really, really good. However, the week started off quite poorly with the following news. It was to do with HIMS, which holds a 5% holding within my portfolio. It struck up a partnership a few weeks ago with Novo Nordisk to distribute one of its weight loss drugs called Wegovy. But Novo Nordisk said it terminates its collaboration with Hims and Hers due to concerns about their illegal mass compounding and deceptive marketing, which caused the share price to go down from about $64 all the way down to $43 for a 30% downswing. Now, I'm not going to lie, this was a very big punch in the gut for a HIM shareholder, because one of the reasons I invested in it is because of its partnership with a major company, the largest company in Europe, in Novo Nordisk, which for me would pave way to other companies having the confidence to work with HIMS too. However, not only will they lose the revenue that's going to be coming in from Novo Nordisk for these Wegovy sales, but also it might mean other companies might be a bit more jittery about working with HIMS too. However, the CEO of HIMS, Andrew Dudum, I think that's how it's pronounced, responded with the following statement. We are disappointed to see Novo Nordisk's management misleading the public. In recent weeks, Novo Nordisk's commercial team increasingly pressured us to control clinical standards and steer patients to Wegovy regardless of whether it was clinically best for patients. We refuse to be strong-armed by any pharmaceutical company's anti-competitive demands that infringe on the independent decision-making of providers and limit patient choice. So it seems like Novo Nordisk was putting a lot of pressure on HIMS to sell their product amidst its own share price shortfalling. So Novo Nordisk is having quite a bit of a tough time. If we look at Novo Nordisk's share price, it's down over 50% in the last year. So they're really struggling. Their salespeople are putting pressure on HIMS too. So Wegovy, even when it's not necessarily right for the patient, and they could do with a smaller dose or a more personalized dose, and HIMS didn't want to cave into that pressure. Now, I want to go back to Novo's statement and focus on this word illegal. Now, if HIMS is acting in a non-lawful way, this becomes a major problem for a HIMS shareholder. However, one of the appointments that HIMS made at the end of last year was of Deborah Autor, pictured here. Now, she was the Deputy Commissioner at the FDA for over 10 years, which is the second highest position available. And she oversaw FDA inspections, criminal investigations, and international operations for the agency. So she really knows what would be unlawful, illegal, criminal. So I would highly doubt that HIMS is doing something illegal with someone like that on the board. So sometimes you can say, well, she's at the FDA. She might not have any experience of working practices of pharma companies themselves. But then she was also the global head of regulatory excellence at AstraZeneca, which is the largest pharma company in the UK. Currently, she also serves on the board of Amneal, which is a large American pharma company. Now, on top of that, on the leadership team of HIMS is a former Novo Nordisk executive called Kare Schultz, who was there for over 30 years. So he would know the inner workings of Novo quite well and would give a bit more clarity on dealings with Novo itself. And now this executive leadership is pretty impressive. So they've also got the former CEO of Cleveland Clinic, Dr. Toby Cosgrove, US regulatory and foreign policy expert Anya Manuel, and former chief medical officer of Walgreens. This is a really, really impressive lineup. And in addition to that, they've announced that they've hired Deirdre Kaur as their first chief product officer. Now, Deirdre was at Robinhood, where she served as VP of product. and she played a pivotal role in scaling their business and led Robinhood Gold, a premium membership offering that has reached over 3 million subscribers. So I feel she's going to be pivotal in doing things like customer experience, which is what HIMS is focusing on, this personalized access to healthcare at a good price. So off the back of that, I wasn't sure if this is a buying opportunity, but after doing this bit of due diligence, I thought there was less risk than initially came out. Now, let's see how this plays out. But for me, I thought it would be a good way to lower my average cost. So what I decided to do was trim a bit of my MicroStrategy holding for £1,500 and ended up buying just under 50 shares of HIMS. I made a slight profit on the MicroStrategy holding, so let's have a quick look. So I made the first £1,000 sold for a £24 profit, and the second £500 sold for an £8 profit. Now, obviously not much, but I wanted to stay away from such a large holding in MicroStrategy because I'm not too happy with Michael Saylor, who's the current president of MicroStrategy, continually diluting the current shareholders to buy more and more Bitcoin. Long term, I think that's a good strategy, but for me, I think that might be too long term, and he just continually does it. So I have a large holding in Bitcoin, which I'm very bullish on actually, and reducing my MicroStrategy holding and buying a company like HIMS, which is on the up, in my opinion, to me makes good sense. So now my current holding in HIMS is just under 160 shares, and my average price has gone down from about 64 to just under 58. And as we saw, by the end of the week, shares went up by about just under 15% to settling at just under $50. Now, the second piece of news I want to talk about is Tesla. So it launched its Robotaxi offering on Sunday last week, which the market initially reacted well to, and it simmered down a little bit later on. But what was quite important is that there was no footage of Tesla's crashing or having too much difficulty. Obviously, it's early days, but it seems like the rollout was a successful one. So during the rollout, there was a Tesla technician or an employee within the car itself. They were there to help just in case something went wrong, but it seems like the rollout was quite good. But what was really interesting at the end of the week, which the market hasn't had the ability to react yet because it was closed, was Elon posted the first autonomous delivery of a car. So this Tesla drove itself from a gigafactory in Texas to its new owner's home 30 minutes away, crossing parking lots and most importantly, highways. So my understanding is that this is the first self-driving vehicle on a highway, which really opens up Robotaxi to a wider geography, and it managed to traverse this well. And I just want to show you the end bit where it's driving and it gets to the owner itself, and I think this is quite impressive. So let's have a quick look. So that was pretty impressive. I think you will agree. So this is a pivotal time in the Tesla shareholders' history. So these are the kind of things that we've paid such a big premium for being a Tesla shareholder. I'm still cautious because this still has to work. It has to work on a mass scale for a long time. But these are very, very strong signs. For a car to fully drive by itself, it just opens up the market. Not only just robotaxis, but just helping people to drive cars who might not have access to them, like elderly people and stuff like that. It's just a really good sign. But again, a bit cautious, but these are good signs. On to the next piece of news. It was Carnival PLC, so Carnival Cruise Lines, reporting their earnings. Now, this is a company that you won't see in many portfolios, but it's one of my best performers. So they absolutely smashed earnings. And this is one of the biggest EPS beats that I've had since I've been an investor. So it smashed earnings per share expectations by 45%. 45%. That's ridiculous. So I'm up over 80% on this holding, and I'm really happy with this. And they've given good guidance. This kind of momentum is going to continue going forward, which the market was really happy about, and the shares went up. about 15% overall. So really happy about that. So let's have a look at my overall other positions. So Google, which was down about 4% last week, is now up just over 1.4%. And there's been some real big news with Google and a partnership with OpenAI on implementing Google's TPUs, which the market reacted well to at the end of the week, as you can see here. So let's see how that plays out. But this is quite a good piece of news for Google. Visa up for the week, just under 3%, picking up some of its losses made by the stablecoin announcement last week. Imperial Brands up just under 60%. MasterCard going up a little bit as well. Meta, now I'm up 20%, so I've held this stock for just under 2 months, and I got in at an average costing of $582, and it's already in 2 months, it's up to $731. And it also paid me my first dividend. So let's have a quick look. So that was the only dividend I got last week, for £5.07, getting closer to the £7,000 overall dividend mark, which is really exciting. But really excited overall, so up just under 1.5K in 2 months, and there's room to grow for a company that's growing its free cash flow as Meta is. MicroStrategy, now I mentioned earlier, I trimmed my position for £1,500, up just under 1.25%. Yeah, going forward, I might reduce my holding in this by a bigger amount as I see other opportunities in the market emerge, as I already have a big holding in Bitcoin already, which I'm bullish on. Microsoft up just under 25% at just over £1,100 profit. Tesla up 43%. So I currently hold 25 shares, and my average price was $206, and we're currently trading at 322. So this, as I mentioned earlier, this is a pivotal time. If they get this autonomous driving element correct, then this could really make the share price fly. HIMS, as you saw earlier, the contract ending with Novo has caused the share price to drop. I was close to being even, but now I'm down just under 17%. But I believe this is a solid holding for the long term, and this is why I added to my position. Carnival up just under 87%. So could this be my first 100% holding within my ISA? We shall see, but it's going in that direction. So up just under £2,500. Amazon up just under 14% for a £494 gain. Nvidia doing really well, and it's very close to being the biggest company in the world. I'm up over 80% on that holding for a £1,700 gain. LGN, a dividend payer, so not going to have such lofty share price growth. So up just under 3.5% for a £112 gain. Centrica up almost 50% for more or less a £1,000 gain. AbbVie up 16.5% for a £425 gain. So Broadcom, my biggest performer in terms of share price growth, but not such a big holding, which is, well, you can't own everything, I guess. But this is doing really, really well, up £1,354. If we look at the share price growth over the last 3 months, it's up just under 60%. So it's really, really flying, this company. Rio Tinto down just under 20%. What can you do? Hopefully things turn around for this one. But it's a big dividend payer, so I'm more or less up on this too, if you factor in the dividend payments that they've given me. Apple, now this is one where I might consider trimming this, pretty much flat. And although they sell fantastic products, they are not innovating, and the share price is kind of stagnating. But yeah, we'll see how that plays out going forward. Costco up 20% for a £381 gain. ASML down 10% on this, but the momentum on this stock is growing, and they've got their earnings coming up, which I'm really keen to see how it does. But I think in the long term, this company will do well. KLA up just under 8%. Now let's look at the momentum for this company. Look, it's up over 31% in the last 3 months, and the trajectory of this company is doing really well. So that's it. So if you've liked the visibility on my portfolio, please give it a quick like so other people can see it. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe so you can follow my journey, see how some of these positions play out. Now overall, just to summarize, up just under £1,000 for the week. If we look at the overall position, so I'm up just under £20,000 overall, £87,600 net deposits, and £107,464 in current value. So really happy with it, how it's going. I'll see you on the next video.